Welcome to the Hey Boomer podcast, the Facebook Live show that inspires boomers to recognize their own strengths and relevance through thought-provoking conversations with extraordinary guests. My name is Wendy Green, and I am your host for Hey Boomer.
So hello, Hey Boomer listeners. I have a question for you. Have you ever thought about quitting your day job and starting something new, completely, totally different from what you were doing? Or maybe you decided that finally it is time to do that thing that you always wanted to do. Well, Lauren Brophy started out in the securities market on Wall Street. She worked there for 26 years, and she and her partner, Lee Petrosky, began exploring business opportunities in early 2000. In 2003, they took the plunge, and they purchased the Apple Valley Inn Bed and Breakfast. This was an 1831 colonial farmhouse, and it needed complete renovation. Another wonderful feature on the property was that there was a second building, and they didn't know exactly what they were going to do with it, but they knew they needed a second building on the property. And then a couple of years later, they started the candy apple shop. So we're going to hear about the inn and the candy apple shop. Lauren and Lee approached their entry into entrepreneurship with a conservative mindset. And they kept their corporate jobs for a while so that they had this fuel to fund the businesses. At the present time, they are 100% dedicated to both the Apple Valley Inn and the Candy Apple Shops. And they are hugely grateful that they were able to do this while they still had some funding coming in. I personally have been lucky enough to stay at the Apple Valley Inn and to have some of their candy apples. And I have to tell you, it is a fabulous experience. If you get the chance to get up there, to go to the inn, I totally encourage you to do that as soon as we are able to travel and they are able to open that again. So with Hey Boomer, as y'all know, we are building a community. And this is a community of people who still have a lot to give, who want to be involved and share some of their life experiences with their families, with their communities, maybe even with the world. Everyone has a story to share. And each story that you hear on Hey Boomer will leave you feeling inspired and glad that you are part of this community. I am privileged every week to bring you these amazing guests and talk to them about important, timely, and inspiring topics. I want you to join the conversation. You are part of this community. So say hello to us. I'm seeing lots of wonderful hellos coming in on the chat. Feel free to engage with us with questions, comments. Tell us that you love us. Lauren will love to hear that too. So go ahead and be involved. I'm also going to be launching other ways to be involved in the Hey Boomer community in the coming weeks. So stay tuned for those opportunities to become more a part and more engaged with this Boomer community. So let me bring Lauren back on. Hi, Lauren.
Hi, Wendy. How are you?
I'm terrific. How are you?
Fantastic. Thank you for having me.
I am so grateful that you agreed to do this. And Lauren is in one of the candy apple shops today. So we are going to hear some wonderful stories. But what I wanted to start with, Lauren, was just to, even though I've been at the Apple Valley Inn and had some of the candy, I don't know the whole backstory about what you did before you decided to start this. So can you just fill us in a little bit of history there?
Sure. So I am not the sole person running this wonderful little opportunity that we have here. It's myself and Lee Petrosky. And we both were working, as you kind of did in the lead-in, our corporate jobs. I worked in the securities market as a regulator for a wonderful company, FINRA. And I'm very indebted to them for all the years that I was able to work there. And Lee was in the accounting field for manufacturing accounting. She's had a wonderful career with several different employers. And, it got to the point where we just were itching for something different. We loved our jobs. We were grateful for our positions, but we knew we needed to stretch our wings a little bit. So we started talking about what else we could do. My cousin had owned a bed and breakfast, really a hotel down in Spring Lake, Wellington. And Lee's father had also had a dream of coming up to this location, up to this area where we live now. Loved the area, and she also had a similar type of dream. So we started to look, and we started our search in about 2000. And it's quite the thing. A lot of it you can do remotely. The internet was kind of in pretty good gear at that point, where we could look at a lot of places online, but we visited a lot in person as well. And they range. If you've been to bed and breakfast, they're all over the gamut in terms of decor. Some are very hands-on. Some are, where you check in and maybe you don't see the innkeepers. We knew what we wanted. We wanted a casual environment that was really updated, but had history to it, that was very comfortable. So we looked for quite a while. We didn't find anything for a while. We kept looking. We also knew at that time that we needed a second business, because an inn, can generate income, but you can do the math and how much you're going to make on, typically it's a weekend business. You'll get some weekdays, but we knew we needed another revenue generating type of enterprise. We had no idea what that would be, but we knew that the business, the property had to have another building. So lo and behold, we are down in Pennsylvania looking at a bed and breakfast, and we had taken off. And it was the day of 9/11, and I worked in the city. I was off that day, and it was a horrible day for everybody. We were very grateful that I was grateful I wasn't there, but I was also guilty that I wasn't there. And it kind of really expedited our search. We had a 5 to 10 year plan to do this. And after that, everybody's lives changed dramatically. And we decided that we needed to figure out how to do this as soon as we could. So we continued looking, and we expanded our search. And really, in our own backyard, I'm from New Jersey, Lee's from Long Island. We had been looking all over the place, from Maine, I would say from Maine to Florida was really our searching area. And in northern Jersey is where we found the Apple Valley Inn. And we came up here to look at it in March of 2003. And now we had probably seen about 100 bed and breakfasts at that point. We pulled up to the front of it. Had just been a snowstorm, so there was about 3 feet of snow on the ground. We pulled up, and I said to Lee, "I hope you have our checkbook, because this is it." We knew it. We just knew from the look of it. It has these beautiful porches on the exterior, and we just had a good feeling. So we pulled in the driveway. We went inside. We toured it. It was a tired little place at that point, but it was grand as well. It had such potential. We put a bid in on that day. They accepted our bid, and we closed on April 15th. So it was a very rapid situation. And we moved up here in April of 2003, tax day. Our first night of ownership, our aunt and uncle were here. They were kind of helping us because we had to go to work the next day. And so they were going to be sleeping over here and helping us. And somebody pulled in the driveway, and they said, "Is there a room at the inn?" Now, we were popping a bottle of champagne in the driveway, and we thought it was a joke. We thought somebody was kind of, putting somebody up to something. And we're like, "Well, there's only about 9." And he goes, "Oh, great, I need a room." Well, it turned out that he was a salesman for Harley Davidson, and he was, up this way, needed a guest room. So, of course, we were fawning all over him. And, his name was Mark. He was a wonderful guy. We had to instantly turn a room into a functioning guest room. And so we had a guest on our first night on a Tuesday, which is not really that common. So somebody was looking out for us, we think. And that was kind of really just a wonderful, christening to the decision.
Yeah, nice little.
Yeah, it was wonderful.
Yeah. But I have a question, because you say that the inn was a tired little inn. It needed a lot of renovations and stuff. So it was somewhat livable, I guess, then, if you guys were there and you let this guest in. So talk to me about what some of the renovations looked like.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I don't want to downplay, the beauty of the inn at all, because it had been well cared for over the years. It just needed updating. For instance, it didn't have private bathrooms. It didn't. All the fireplaces were sealed shut. So the room that we did put the fellow in was one of the rooms that had a private bathroom, but I think it was one of the only ones.
Okay.
And so what we had to do is basically rip it apart, put it back together, but keeping the charm and the period of the home. So we basically we have 6 guest rooms at the moment. The first floor guest room is our gala room, and there's a nice shot of our website. And our first floor guest room is handicap accessible. We renovated it to make it ADA compliant, so it's right off the first level, easy access to the parlor and the dining room. And we added the whole thing is ADA compliant, the bathroom, the living, the guest room part. And then on the second floor, we have 4 guest rooms, all have brand new bathrooms, pretty much everything, all fireplaces. We put all gas fireplaces in. The inn has gotten brand new heating systems over the years. Everything is updated. So we've kind of just taken it apart. There's a lovely shot, a drone video we have of the inn in the fall. We are very lucky to border Pochac Valley Farm, which is an apple pick orchard. And there's the inn, and to the left you can see the candy apple shop. So that's touring the front of the inn. We have wraparound porches. On the second floor, there's a nice porch on the bottom. It wraps around to the side yard of the property. It's a beautiful setting. And then we're right alongside a creek. So there you can see a little bit of the candy apple shop. And then we have this beautiful natural flowing creek alongside our property with a bridge, a footbridge. That's all part of our grounds as well. So the setting is really lovely. And it was something that also captured our imagination, even though we couldn't see all of it when we first got there that day because of the snowstorm.
Yeah, this setting is lovely.
Yeah, we did have the vision of what it could be. And I think that was the big key. Is we saw a lot. We saw past what it was at the moment and what it could be.
Yeah, well, you definitely did a beautiful job with the vision too. I mean, I haven't been there in several years, but the rooms and the way you guys host the guests and make everybody feel so welcome. It's like we're sharing your home, it's really lovely. And
we're privileged that people come here, and they do become part of our extended family. You get to know them, know their story, and you can't wait to hear their next chapter the next time they come back. And it's amazing how many nice people we've met, and they're really friends of ours. And we've traveled to their homes. We have quite a few international guests that we've been lucky enough to travel overseas to their homes.
wow.
That was a perk that we didn't see coming, but one that we really love. So we really have our guests to thank for our success as well.
Yeah. Well, so you had this wonderful inn and you had this outbuilding.
Yes.
How did this vision come to you of we're going to create a candy shop?
Yeah, so I think, Lee and I toyed with so many different ideas of what this building could be. This building is probably about 500 square feet. It is not a large building. And we toyed with all these different, concepts. And then we thought, the number one thing people ask us when they visit is where can I go shopping or what can I go do? So we thought, well, how do we tie that in? And we thought, well, gift shop really isn't an attractive opportunity for, a lot of guys, they don't want to go into a gift shop, they'll wait in the car. But chocolate is a universal language, and everybody likes candy or chocolate. So we thought, that would be interesting if we made it a candy shop, a chocolate shop. And so we started to do our homework. I'm very lucky to meet some people in the candy business that introduced us to various people, and we started to get an education. And we thought, I think we can do this. And much like the inn, we jumped right in. Now, the building that the candy apple shop resides in Glenwood, is as old as the inn. And so it needed the same amount of renovation as the bed and breakfast did. So we, took it upon us to hire somebody to come in, and we started to outfit the candy apple shop, which used to function as a distillery in the 1800s, so it has a very interesting history. And so we kind of kept the design of the shop, design of the building. It's a post-in-beam building, and we incorporated that into the design of the candy apple shop.
So you and Lee did not know how to make candy when you came up with this idea?
We had zero experience.
Oh my gosh.
But, we also didn't know how to be innkeepers. And now candy is a little more complicated for sure. But what we did is we went on to take a class, chocolate boot camp. We went to a chocolate boot camp
Chocolate boot
where
camp.
they teach you kind of the basic fundamentals of chocolate. Um, and then we met other vendors that kind of would help us along the way. And every year we basically take more classes. And I would say our best learnings have been through trial and error. We've come upon where we've purchased our own, chocolate machines, and and started to learn how to make molds, make chocolate. Uh, we've had a lot of flubs, but those are the best, the best learnings, as I said, because you figure out what you're doing wrong. Now, chocolate, the art of tempering is critical. Very often, that will be, we're all pursuing how to achieve temper and hold temper when making our chocolate, and that's what gives you, a beautiful glistening shine on your chocolate. So, we kind of just jumped right in. And at this point, we have been doing our chocolate business for 15 years, and our Apple Valley Instant for 17.
Wow.
So
So Lauren, I'm looking through this page.
yeah,
There's so many, like, how do you guys keep coming up with all these new ideas?
yeah. So what we started out with is the name of the shop is the Candy Apple Shop. So we specialize in gourmet caramel apples, and we have quite a number of flavors. You can kind of scroll through them on our website and see them. Um, and then we kind of supplemented that with gourmet pretzel rods, which are dipped in caramel, then covered in toppings, and they're also on that site. And that's what we do online. But above and beyond that, we do a lot of custom things for inside the shop. We do one of our most popular items is our high-heeled chocolate shoes filled with truffles.
Yes,
And
I want to show that. Those
yeah,
are amazing.
I mean, it's fun to figure out how to do these things.
Look at
Um,
this.
yeah, those are some of our high-heel shoes. We fill them with truffles. They're hand-decorated. And the designs of them kind of morph over time as we get better and better at it, or figure out different techniques. So those are a popular item. You can see some chocolate cowboy boots there. Margarita glasses are very popular. Those are also filled with truffles. Um, and actually down there, that cupcake filled with nonpareil is probably one of our best sellers. It's good for birthdays and any occasion. It's a chocolate cupcake. The lid comes off and we fill it with chocolate. So the whole thing is edible.
Oh my gosh.
And then we've just kind of
It's
expanded.
amazing.
Those are some more shoes that we make. Those are at the very bottom there. Those are actually one of my favorites. So it's a dark chocolate shoe. We kind of do a scroll design on it.
Oh,
It's just a beautiful presentation. Very popular for brides to give their bridesmaids when they're asking them to be at their wedding party, or all kinds of gift ideas. So
yeah.
yeah, so it's fun.
Wow. So you also have gift certificates, right? For the inn and for the Candy
Yeah,
Apple Shop?
right. So you can buy a gift certificate to the Apple Valley Inn and gift it to somebody. Right now we unfortunately are closed due to COVID, but we are looking forward to be back open in January of next year. Um, but the Candy Apple Shop remains open for business in both locations. We do have a second location now that's been open about 5 years in the village of Warwick, New York. Talk about that a little bit as well. But on our website, you can buy a digital gift certificate, and that gift certificate can be used in the store, or you can use it for an online purchase. So it's a great way to give a gift to somebody that maybe you're not going to see. You can email it right to them, and they can use their gift certificate, like I said, in the store or online.
So I know when you started, you and Lauren were still you and Lee were still working.
We were, yes.
And so you had to have some help, but now you are fully involved in this. And when you're fully open, when it's not COVID time,
Yeah.
how many people are actually involved and employed
Well,
with the businesses?
I'm so glad you said it, because we wouldn't be here without our employees. We initially, we first opened, we had one employee in the Candy Apple Shop in Glenwood. She's a wonderful gal. She would be in here working. I would be in Manhattan working. Lee would be at her location working, and this poor girl was kind of left on her own. And she did a wonderful job for us. We're indebted to her. And over the years, we've brought in new staff, and they really become part of our extended family here. Really, we can't succeed without them. So, we have the nicest employees. They're loyal. They're wonderful to customers. So we're exceptionally lucky in that regard. So at this point, wow, Lee and I primarily run the bed and breakfast by ourselves. It's an intimate situation. It's we make breakfast. We actually do all the cleaning and everything. It's
Wow.
just part of our, way of doing business. We want it to be our hands-on thing. But the candy shops, we have probably, I don't know, at holiday time, we could have as many as 10 part-time employees. We call on all forces because we get so busy that we need everybody on all hands on deck to keep the ship running. We do a very vibrant online business. Corporate orders are very popular. And so we need a lot of hands to help us get the job done.
Yeah, I guess you do. And you are lucky. And I'm not surprised that you have so many dedicated employees because you and Lee are just so gracious with your time and energy too.
Very sweet.
So talk to us about some of your best-selling chocolates.
Yeah, I would say our apples, our signature product are our gourmet apples. Very few people leave the shop without purchasing one of those. And one of the nice things about, so we value probably in this order, we value certainly our employees, our customers. Our customers have made our business, and without them, we'd be nowhere. And they love to tell other people about our shop. They love to bring their families to our shop. Somebody visiting, they love to make it an experience. The Candy Apple Shop in Glenwood is on the grounds of the Apple Valley Bed and Breakfast. It's just paces away from the door to the Apple Valley Inn. So it has a very attractive setting. It's on we have the creek running alongside with the bridge, so people can kind of enjoy the landscape here. And it has become a destination, the Candy Apple Shop here in Glenwood. So I'd say our number one bestseller is definitely our gourmet apples, but then probably our unique chocolate pieces are second. We do all kinds of lollipops, all types of different chocolate pieces. I think earlier on that screen you saw chocolate beer mugs. We do Eiffel Towers. We do, you name it, we do it. And as far as favors, we also have a pretty vibrant favor business where we do favors for baby showers, wedding showers. There's been a little drop off in the wedding business right now just because of the environment, but we are still doing our favors for weddings. They're just a little bit smaller in size. Typically apples, but we've also do truffle packs, all kinds of different little chocolate, designer chocolates that we make for people. So those are some of our best sellers. But I will say that in 2015, we expanded our business, our candy business, into the village of Warwick. And we're lucky enough to get a wonderful location on Main Street in the village of Warwick. It's a really adorable town. And we've been there now for 5 years. And in Glenwood, the shop here is like our little country shop. And in Warwick, it's a total different decor. It's pink and lime green. It's our little Willy Wonka shop. And it's quite a bit bigger. So now we have a wonderful community in the neighboring town as well that's embraced us and really helped us achieve the success we have today.
So Lauren, you hear a lot of entrepreneurs and they come up with these ideas that they're like so excited about. And a lot of people that surround them, you and Lee had very good, steady jobs.
We did.
A lot of people, including family, will sometimes say, "Are you crazy?"
That was said. Yeah, I think you're right. And but it's not all about that, is it? Right? And I think that we're all getting that, awakening that, life has a lot more to offer than just our day job. And you're there all the time. And that's really what triggered us to start looking, is that we knew that we needed something else. So yeah, I think you really have to have the heart, passion, and the resilience to keep going. You can have the dream, but executing it is really the hard part. And we have made a lot of missteps. As an entrepreneur, you live and learn. And I'm sure you've heard this before, but when we make a mistake, our learnings are so much more from that mistake, because it hits you hard and you realize that you need to figure it out. So we're very lucky. We've been successful, but we've had some great learnings. And we've had the opportunity, as well, because we had our other jobs, to help us get to this point where we are now, so we can be here full time.
Yeah. So Can you tell us about a couple of your biggest challenges that you faced through all of this?
Renovating the bed and breakfast was very challenging. It's an 1831 building, so you never know what you're going to find when you open a wall, and you know, and sometimes there were some surprises there, and you just have to figure it out. And we're still figuring it out. We have never stopped learning, and as we take each day, or we have an idea, we could have an idea that we think is going to rock it, and it will sink, and we'll be like, wow, we totally messed that up. But you have to start thinking from the customer side. You really have to think from the customer side all the time, and not just what you think is going to work. But in terms of some of our failings, or some of our bloopers, I guess, I guess most of them would have to be associated with the inn, making kind of a decision on something and then having to kind of retrace our steps and redo something. And there's a cost involved to that as well. So you really have to think through all your business decisions, and the ramifications of it before you go forward.
Yeah, yeah. So this transition, did one of you leave your job before the other to go full time, or did you guys both jump in at the same time?
No, we actually took turns. I'll tell you, initially, it's almost hard to remember how we did it because 70 years ago, my employer was wonderful. They let me work part-time. So I worked part-time in the city. And I believe Lee did too initially. And then Lee left her job. So she was here full-time. And I was still working in the city on a part-time basis, but commuting. We kind of live pretty far away from the city. We're about from a commuting standpoint, it is not a very easy commute. But we had an end game, and that made it an easy commute because we knew eventually we would be here. And then what happened is Lee took a position with a company kind of as a part-time situation that kind of morphed into a full-time job. And, it allowed us to, juice up and get ready for the candy apple shop business. And, it kind of came in time for Warwick to open. You really do need the backbone of cash to generate, to generate renovations or do marketing. You just need it, and you can't just open up your doors and say, "Okay, I'm ready." There's a lot goes on behind the scenes. So you mentioned earlier, fiscally conservative, that we kept our jobs to try to just keep feeding this machine that we knew eventually would get to the point where it is now. So we kind of took turns. I was working, and then Lee was working, and then I left my job, I think in 2014, and then Lee left hers later on. And so now we're here, and we're very, very lucky to be here.
So here's a great question that just came in. What do you know about the history of the inn and the original owners?
Yeah, it is a good question. So originally this was a farmhouse, about 200 acres, from what we understand. It was owned by a fellow named Gabriel Houston, and it was a private home. I think he was pretty much a well-to-do individual, farmer / banker, but a very generous man. And originally we believe that his first home was across the street as a log cabin, and then this house was built by him, along with the building where the candy apple shop resides. And so, that's the history that we know of. We were fortunate enough, probably I'd say when we're only here a couple of years, to meet a woman that grew up here. And we were lucky that she came to our inn and talked to us at length about when she ran the farm with her father, and showed us pictures and shared pictures with us. So it was really wonderful. They used to own part of where we border. Pochek Valley Farm is across from us. It's a beautiful pick-your-own orchard, and people go into the store and then they go up the hill and they have a beautiful setting there. And that farmland was originally owned, we believe, by Gabriel Houston here, and then the owners subsequent to that. And now it's no longer. We have about 2 acres of property that we sit on. That's a bit of the history that we understand.
Well, you have 2 acres, but the grounds, did you do a lot of renovation of the grounds too? Because they are gorgeous.
Yeah, so the grounds were here, and they had a lot of gardens. Over the years, those gardens had kind of needed a little help. So we actually eliminated some and rebuilt others. So we definitely had the footprint of it, and some of them were spectacular. So over the years, we've definitely added to them. We've rebuilt a lot of the rock walls on the property because they're just beautiful. They help add to the appearance of the whole place. So the gardens are something that we are constantly tending to, but there was definitely a good footprint of the gardens here. And I think that's attributed to Mitzi Durham, who was one of the owners that her and John Durham had originally, when they had owned the inn, they had made it a bed and breakfast.
Ah,
So that was the original owners that turned this into a bed and breakfast or an inn. So we've kind of just taken that and run with it.
okay. All right. So talk to me about like how you started marketing this. I mean, you are not right next to the city. How did people hear about you?
Yeah, so I guess back in 2003, it was a different world. We built a website, knowing nothing about that, with somebody. Somebody built it for us. We've gone through, different iterations of our websites over the years and different partners in that regard. But it's really important to understand how that all works yourself. Social media is probably the best friend of small business, in my opinion, because social media, you can reach an audience so far-reaching that you really couldn't from a dollar perspective.
Mhm.
Our Candy Apple Shop Facebook page, Instagram page, and the same for Apple Valley Inn is just a wonderful conduit for us to get out there and talk about what we do, show off our products. We're always posting to Facebook and Instagram and showing the inn in terms of what the rooms look like or if there are events in the area. So it's something that we just naturally kind of came to. It's great fun. I love the marketing part of it. It's my favorite part of it, other than the guests themselves. Um, and so, it's just fun to post. We do silly videos sometimes. Some of our employees participate in those in the candy shop business. And, it's really engaging your customers through social media.
Yeah. So we talked a little bit about how COVID has impacted your business.
Yes.
Um, what are you doing to adjust, and what are your
Yeah,
plans going forward?
yeah, I think we're very fortunate because while we've made the decision to close the inn for now, it's a very intimate environment. We want everybody to stay safe. Now, the candy shop business is a little different. What we did in Warwick is we did have to close our business for about 3 months when COVID hit initially. I think we closed in mid-March over there. And over in the Glenwood location, because we own the property and the building, we rent in Warwick. In Glenwood, we were able to continue our business model, but we did curbside delivery. And so customers would call, give us their order. We would be their chocolate shopper inside, and we would run the orders out to their vehicle in a very safe manner. They didn't even have to get out. We take the credit cards over the phone. And it was definitely a difficult model because not something we're used to. We only have one phone line, but you adapt, and people are kind and they understand this is not normal times. And, it worked. And so luckily it happened right around Easter, which is one of our number one biggest holidays for a chocolate stand. And so that was, difficult in not being open in Warwick, but, all those wonderful customers that we have in Warwick joined us over here in Glenwood and came for their pickups here in Glenwood.
Wow.
So, and of course, our loyal customers in Glenwood and surrounding areas, they were fantastic to us. So they kept us in business, and we're grateful for that. And our doors are now back open in both locations. We've taken all those precautions that we need to with all the plexiglass and masks and all the right signage and hand washing and everything you can imagine. We're doing it, and customers feel very comfortable. So things are getting back on track. It's certainly nice to have our customers back in our shops.
Yeah, and great foresight on your part that you knew you had to have something else besides the inn,
Yeah, that really
right?
did pay off in the end.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So transitions are hard for people.
Yeah.
And I am just curious about how the transition from Manhattan life
Uh-huh.
to life out in the country in New Jersey, how has that changed you and Lee?
You know, we are very grateful for both parts of our lives. Working in the city for wonderful companies had its benefits. There's no doubt. It's a fun place, but we did always commute into New Jersey back home. But being up here in the country, it's a beautiful area. Sussex County, New Jersey, has so much to offer. On our website, Apple Valley Inn, we have a whole attractions page, and there is everything to do up here. It's a real nature lovers paradise. We have the Appalachian Boardwalk that travels through the marsh here in Vernon. It is such a wonderful attraction. It goes out to a suspension bridge, and we've got wonderful trail hiking, state parks, and then we border Warwick, New York, or Pine Island, New York, which is part of Warwick. And they have the same thing, wineries and breweries and other hiking trails. So, we fell in love with the area. So it was an easy transition. It was a beautiful place to then lay our head, and call our home. It kind of happened, the house itself, when we bought it and we moved in, or I should say when we came to see it, we felt a great comfort walking in the front door. The house has a good vibe. And it didn't take us long to feel comfortable at the Apple Valley Inn ourselves, because we live here. It's our home as well. So we transitioned pretty easily. That's not to say we don't still keep in touch with all of our old friends. And before this situation with COVID, we would go into the city still quite frequently. But, we love it here. It's definitely our home.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's pretty amazing, because I think that's such a different lifestyle from the city lifestyle.
The benefits, another benefit that's definitely worth mentioning, is the inn has afforded us the opportunity to get closer with our own families, because we hold big events here for our families. Our families are all over the country, and it kind of became a meeting place. So we've had so many wonderful memories created with our family members here, that we'll hold those memories forever. And we're very lucky to have had it. And it's a wonderful meeting place. Part of Lee's family lives down in Florida, and they love to come up here, especially in the fall. So it's a wonderful place that our family, even though it's an inn and we have guests, it's also our home. So we do share it with our families as well.
And your puppies.
And our puppies, that's right. We do have adorable little shelter pups.
Very sweet little puppies. So before we close, I wonder if you have a couple of takeaways for our guests about being an entrepreneur, going through a transition, making this decision to move forward. I mean, what kind of nuggets can you leave us with? Not chocolate nuggets, but.
Yeah, I would say that we never stop learning, and to be open-minded to that. One of the biggest things that we realize is our partners. And those partners are different. Your employees are your partners. Your customers and your guests are your partners. They make your business thrive. But then also the other people you partner with, whether it's somebody that helps us do the construction at the inn, or somebody that helps us from a marketing standpoint. All those there, or somebody in the chocolate business. We have some wonderful people that have advised us. So it's to pick the right partners, and that's not always easy. A lot of people know buzzwords. But when you kind of dig through the surface, you realize that they just knew the buzzwords. So to really do your homework when you're interviewing people that you're going to bring in terms of being a partner to your business. I guess also the other thing is to really treat your employees well, because they're the backbone of your business. They're going to have your back. They're going to represent you when you're not there. And also to have the cash flow when you get started, so that this thing doesn't run short, that you can continue to move forward and make it exactly what you want to make it, and be ready for some hard work. But that's the easy part. The hard work is easy because the excitement is there. And I would highly recommend, if somebody has that inkling to start something on their own, and the perseverance, that they try it, because it's extremely rewarding. Yeah, we left great jobs to do this, but these jobs are fantastic that we have right now.
Yeah, you're your own bosses, your own visionaries.
Yeah, and it's we every day we smile getting up to go to work. We can't wait to see what we're gonna what's gonna happen, what we're gonna do. So it's always an adventure. It's never boring, that's for sure.
Yeah, and you're creative. You're getting to do that. So, Lauren, there have been fabulous comments. People have really, really enjoyed this conversation.
It's good to hear.
Yeah, I can't wait to replay it so that I can gain some more knowledge as I'm trying to start this too. So let me tell people just a couple of things on how they can find you. So they can go to thecandyappleshop.com to see where you are and get the digital gift certificates and look at the yummy chocolates. And
we have two locations, one in Glenwood, New Jersey, and one in Warwick, New York.
Right. And then the Apple Valley Inn. I am strongly encouraging anybody that wants to take a amazing, beautiful, relaxing vacation. This is a great place to go. And I have to tell you this, I don't know if I ever told you this, Lauren, but as a gardener, I love to grow my vegetables. So when we drove up there one time, we drove by the mushroom fields. Do you remember? And the dark soil, onion fields.
Yes.
The dark soil, I was like, oh, I wanted just to take that home with me.
That's the black dirt region in Pine Island is renowned for that. Their onions and that beautiful black dirt they have.
Oh.
We're in the midst of wonderful corn, and we're heading into the fall season where all the pick your own orchards will be opening. So it is a great place to visit for that part as well.
It is a great place to visit for that. And I wanted to let people know that I will be re-listening to this because I go through and I edit the broadcast to make sure everything went smoothly, and I think it did. But it will be at the end of today up on the Hey Boomer YouTube channel. And it will also be on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and several other podcasts by the end of today. So if you know people that weren't able to listen to us live, they can always go back and listen later. And one more thing, if you are interested in being part of the Hey Boomer community, a couple of things. Go ahead and follow us so that you know everything that's coming up. And if you'd like to get a Monday morning email that says, hey, here's the link, and a reminder that we're going to be going live at 1:00 on Eastern time, just click on this send email. And you can send me a note, and I will be sure to send you a message about the upcoming show.
Great.
So let me tell you who's my guest next week. I'm very excited about this. Her name is Lawson Wetley, and Lawson is a longtime resident of Greenville, South Carolina. She's an attorney. Her passion is helping people connect to their own power as voters and as members of our civic community. Lawson is co-president of the League of Women Voters of Greenville County and the voter registration chair of the Greenville branch of the NAACP. As y'all know, we just celebrated 100 years since the 19th Amendment that gave women the right to vote. And when I think about that, and that's just not that long before I was born. So I'm not, like 30 some odd years before I was born. So I can't, it's just amazing. And so we're also hearing a lot of talk about early voting and voter suppression and the post office and all this kind of stuff. So my discussion with Lawson, we're going to be talking about all things voting and hope to clear up any questions that you may have about voting in this upcoming election. So C.S. Lewis reminded us, you are never too old to set another goal or dream another dream. Thank you so much. I'm so grateful for all of you for joining us today. Let's continue to meet weekly to learn, dream, and share. Thank you, Lauren.
Thank you, Wendy. Nice to see you. Thanks for having us on.
Oh, my pleasure. Bye, Boomers.
Take care now.